wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club, and we got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
We have Shenequa Golding. Welcome.
Good morning.
How you feeling?
Good morning, Queen Golding. How are you?
I feel good. Thank you guys for having me.
She's got a new book out, A Black Girl in the Middle, Essays on Allegedly Figuring It All Out. I love that title.
Thank you.
What inspired that title?
Oh, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
If that makes sense. This book is 12 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
A large portion of it is me chronicling the things I did in my 20s, experiences I had in my 20s, how I reacted in my 20s, and with my soon-to-be 40-year-old mind, kind of bringing it all to an end, closure. Sometimes there are some chapters where I still don't even know where I land, and there are 2 incidents that took place in the pandemic. But mostly it's a look back on who I was, where I was, and hopefully where I will be. So, in the middle of it all.
I love that because so many people act like they're experts about things, but, we're not really experts on anything. We just have experiences.
Yes.
And sometimes those experiences can help, people.
Yes.
We should be willing to share those.
Yes.
Now, for people that don't know who Shenequa Golding is, can you give them a rundown who you are? Of course, you had things published in Vibe and Vanity Fair, but who is Shenequa Golding for people that don't know?
Professionally or personally?
Both.
Oh, well, professionally, I'm a writer, editor, and new author.
Hey.
Personally, I am a very curious woman, a very intimate woman. I am a compassionate, loving, thoughtful, empathetic woman, but I am also stern. Stern in my standards, stern in how I operate with people, stern in the love that I have for myself. Stern might not be the best way, but just like I'm very...
You have boundaries.
I'm boundaries, and I'm very serious about the people I love, and I'm very serious about those who I choose to love me.
When did you get to that point?
Oh, like last week. Like last week, y'all. Like this is, let me not like front, like this just, you know what I mean? Like, but I'm going to be 40, God willing, next year. I'll be 39 next month. And the older I get, the more things are just becoming clear to me on who I am, what I can tolerate, who I can tolerate, and all that jazz.
And this book started from an essay, right?
This book did start from an essay.
Okay.
Y'all better have just done y'all research. So in May 2020, we all were confined to our homes because of the pandemic. And as we all know, George Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin. But I try my very best to not watch those videos and those moments of, our brothers and sisters being killed. I feel like we don't have to memorialize them in that way. But, the timeline is what it is, and you can't ignore it. So the photo of Floyd's lifeless body on the floor with Chauvin's neck hit my timeline, and I couldn't unsee it. It was Memorial Day weekend, if you remember. So we had that Monday off, and then Tuesday, we go back to work. So I log online, and these were old coworkers. And, if you work in corporate America, you know that there's some small talk prior to the actual meeting starting. And they were just like, oh, my God, what'd you do this weekend? Like, I was out on the islands. It was so hot. And just like, and they weren't intentionally trying to be insensitive. They sincerely did not know because they did not have to know.
Right.
Does that make sense? And I just was taken away. And I had to maintain some professionalism in that moment. You can't cuss them out. So I wrote a story called Maintaining Professionalism in the Age of Black Death is a Lot.
I remember that.
And I wrote it, went about my business. The next day, reposted it again. Cool. I went to sleep one night, woke up in the middle of the night, had to use the restroom, rolled over, looked at my phone, and somebody was just like, oh, excellent story by Shenequa Golding. I saw it on Jeff Bezos' page. All right, that's a typo. And, and I went back to sleep, and then I woke up for real, and I saw that he reposted it on his IG account, and then,
Jeff Bezos?
Jeffrey Bezos, yes.
Wow. And that led to the book deal and everything else?
Yes, because my agent saw it, because it went viral, super viral, and she reached out. We started working together, made my proposal, sold it to Beacon Press, and here we are.
Wow. What did your, your coworkers at the time, who the article was essentially about, what did they say?
You know what's so crazy? I don't know if they knew that I was talking about them. I don't know if they knew I was talking about them, but when Jeff Bezos reposted the story, I was very nervous because I did not know how our community would react to it. I was just like, will they think that Jeff Bezos reposting this story about Black Death is diluting
Yes,
the
absolutely.
importance of Black Death. I was so scared. You know what I'm saying? But thankfully, it was the opposite. And I'm very glad he reposted it. And I speak about it a bit in my book. But it sometimes feels like when white people acknowledge that something bad has happened to a Black person, that's when it kind of gets legs. You know what I'm saying? And then I think because of that, my coworkers were just like, oh, wow, like this is really serious. You know what I mean?
One of the richest men in the world said, I got to pay attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, were you worried about expressing too much in the book, like in the Daddy Girls chapter? Did you care how you trade him at all? Or how he would feel about that chapter?
So when I was writing this book, the comment section in my mind was off.
Great.
I didn't really, I was just writing. Daddy's Girl is a chapter about my father, my absentee father. And I don't, it's going to sound horrible to say like I don't care what he thinks, but this is more so like me speaking about his absence. And I'm allowed to talk about the people who hurt me, even if you're my father.
Have y'all spoke since?
I have not spoken to my father in I've had my locks for 6 years, maybe 10.
Is that because you don't want that relationship, or it just never connected?
It's just, he, okay, so before he abandoned me, he abandoned my mother, right? I can tell my business. You abandoned me. I will not tell why he abandoned her. You know what I'm saying? And it's a large part of that. And I've tried, but it didn't work. Yearning for someone doesn't feel good. And you two are active fathers in your children's life. I know you have 4 kids. I know you have 6, dear God. But it's a lot when you want someone who doesn't want you, romantically familiar. And it's just I had to accept that it just wasn't going to happen.
Now, I'm not comparing or anything, but when I speak to a lot of women, a lot of times when they don't have a dad in their life, it affects them. It affects their relationships. It affects how they work. It affects how they look at men. Have you had the same feeling when it comes to men and relationships and guard always up because you never know? How has that been through your life with your dad not being there?
So my dad was not in my life, but my mother thankfully dated a really great guy. Shout out to Greg, and he was very consistent throughout my life. And he no one can fill the hole of your father not being there, but he was a really good guy for me growing up. As far as men are concerned, I've dated some good dudes. I've also not dated some good dudes. Does it affect me? I'm sure it does. Because the first real pain I've ever had in my life came from a man. And I think, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys have daughters. I think within the Black community, we raise Black girls to be like vibranium, because Black men in general, know that you will receive pain from another man. And I think that's really, I think that's something that needs to be unpacked.
Yeah, I'm noticing a trend in a lot of books, even, with Kendrick Lamar's song Father Time. Even in my new book, I have a chapter called Father Time. And Tiffany Haddish has a chapter in her book now. And it's like everybody's unpacking issues with their father. And I think that that's a dynamic that needs to be unpacked in a real way, because you don't ever really think about how not having a father or even having a father who might have been raising you out of fear instead of love impacted you.
Absolutely. And I also think that men, not all, don't realize how important they are and how necessary they are. Like you'll see on Instagram, like a father with his son, and how the little boy is just like looking up, and everything that the father does, a little boy does. And it's like, I don't think that they realize that like you are needed.
That's right.
Like needed. You know what I'm saying?
In men and women's lives, because they always, people act like daddy issues are just something regulated to women.
Yes,
That's not true.
Correct. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you realize that I have a 22-year-old. You realize that as they get a lot older.
He's way bigger than him, by the way. He's 22-year-old.
My 22 years a girl. You're talking about my son who's 20.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're talking about
I have a 22 year 20. And I have, they go through the thing. 22, 20, 10, 9, 7, and 2.
2.
We started over. But you do realize when they get a lot older, how they do things like you, how they walk like you, how they look around like you, how they maneuver like you, and you realize how important that is. And you also realize how you have to change. Like my dad, coming from Queens, he's a retired police officer. It wasn't a conversation. It was, you do what I say, and that's what it is.
Yeah. Right.
My wife's mother, who is Jamaican Asian, it was the same thing. It was like, you this, that, the other. We decided to do it a lot differently, and we see how it affects them differently, because we don't know. And like Charlamagne says, there's never an instruction manual. You just have to you learn as you go. And sometimes that learning process can affect your kids in a negative way, because we really don't know what we're doing, and we don't have those conversations. So with the guy, the gentleman Greg, I noticed that you didn't call him dad or father. Was there a reason for that?
Because that's a good question. Thank you for that. I didn't call him that. It was just Greg, you know. But I loved him like my dad. Yeah.
Interesting. You know, we were talking about Ozempic butt early this morning.
Oh,
I don't know if you've heard of Ozempic butt. Ozempic butt is where women are losing weight in their stomachs, but also in their asses.
Okay.
So they're depressed.
So yeah, so it's a side effect of Ozempic, and you know, it made me think of the BBL chapter where you say not having a big butt ignited something sour inside of you. Why did not having a big butt
That
affect you
crazy.
so much?
No, but that's what I wrote. Okay, so my family's Jamaican, and everyone in my family I come from a family of women, just shapely women, beautiful women, gorgeous women, and that's what I saw growing up. So I figured,
You saw big rear ends.
I saw beautiful women who were
because you say about the BBL. Okay,
yes.
okay.
I saw beautiful women who were very shapely, who were very gorgeous, and that was just not me. I was very tall, athletic, and I was just like, why can't I be beautiful in this way? And it was not nice. It wasn't a good feeling. Now, no one in my family made fun of me. No one in my family tried to play me, but it was just like, you start to see how you're different in a very early way.
I love that though, because that's such a new experience, right? Because I remember, you know, you read stories of people growing up and thinking that physique of a black woman wasn't something they wanted. You know, as far as the body.
Really?
Shape. Yeah, like, you know, so to hear somebody say, no, that's what I actually wanted was very refreshing.
And also, like, my two best friends growing up, they were shapely too. You know what I'm saying? That's just all it was. That's all I saw around me. And I really, 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 really wished I had that physique. And had I had the money, or had Ozempic butt been a thing for me when I was in my teens, I totally would have done that. Totally
Really?
would. Yeah, because you don't, let me tell you, insecurities, they don't let you go.
That's real.
They do not let you go. However, whatever insecurities you have. And for a very, very, very long time, I just wished I had a big butt. This is I might be playing myself, but when you're a woman and you walk past a group of guys, they start to they start to look, right? And then you walk past and they say, "All right, never mind." That's not a nice feeling. You know what I mean? That's not nice. As growing up, oh man, but you know what I'm saying? That never happened to my friends growing up, but it happened to me. I'm just like, oh, come on, you guys. I feel like I have a nice smile.
I feel like you're
Nice smile.
But you're 38, and I feel like
39.
Well,
I'll be 39 in June.
June. Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we were growing up, it was people made fun of people, or they talked about the little skinny girl, or I don't feel like it affected us the same way, but maybe it did, like you said.
Okay, so it did. Okay, I see what you're saying. In my household, because that's what I saw, that's what I wanted. But I will say that growing up in the 90s, there was more of a totality of beauty.
That's real.
You see what I'm saying? To this day, we all acknowledge how gorgeous Aaliyah was. Aaliyah wasn't any shapely woman like that. You know, looking back, you can see photos of a young Nia Long, young
Sinale,
Gabrielle Union, Halle Berry,
absolutely.
Sinale.
Jada Pinkett.
Young women. And it really was about the face card growing up.
That's right.
It really, really was
Many
about the
different
face
body
card.
types.
Many different body types.
J-Lo was a different body type.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And then Serena came out. Not came out, but you know what I'm saying, that? So growing up, there was definitely more of a spectrum. Now you got to be fine. You got to be bad. You got to be sexy. Growing up, you could be cute. You could be, you know, like you could
around
be cute.
the way girl.
You could be around the way girl growing up.
Like LL's coined that phrase. He's right.
Yeah, you could definitely be that girl and still be able to pull the dude.
Those are the flyest ones, though. Like the around the way girls are the flyest ones. Like,
but you know, on social media, that's not what it's giving on social media. Like you got to be the baddest and You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, okay, cool. All right, cool.
You also say in the book, we talking to Shenequa Golden, her new book, A Black Girl in the Middle, essays on allegedly figuring it all out now. You say that having fun is exhausting.
Having fun is exhausting. Having fun is exhausting.
Explain that.
Sounds like that big old age when you start saying that old age.
Honestly, I'm an introvert. So I am somebody who is recharged with candles, being by myself, intimate settings, or those that I really love. When I finally became of age to like go out and party, I was trying to conform to the type of person I thought I should be in my 20s, which is someone who goes out, parties, drinks, and Now I had those moments. I definitely did. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't, but I would always have to like sit on the couch, regroup, recharge, just like sit in a corner to myself. And I really thought that there was something wrong with me growing up, because people would be like, yo, like have fun. You're gonna regret this when you get older. And now like the only thing I regret is if I miss like a JetBlue deal. You know what I mean? Like I don't regret not going to a club or not going to a party or whatever the case may be. But this world really doesn't know how to interact with introverts without taking offense. And the type of fun that you're supposed to have, to me, it's just, I'm super good. Like, I'm super good. Like, I'm not the girl that's outside.
Were you allowed to go out? Because I know especially West Indian families, like they make sure, especially their daughters, don't go out until 21. You know what I mean? Like,
so excellent question again. So my mom had me when she was 16 years old, and she was super protective of me because she was afraid that I was going to do what she did. So growing up, I could not go outside like that. And then when I finally got of age, everyone was like, "Oh, you gonna wild out? You gonna do this? You gonna do that?" And when I finally got outside, I was like, "I think I'm good."
Nothing. Yeah.
I was like, "I think I'm all right. I kind of want to just go home and read this book." But it's hard telling people, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'd rather go home and be by myself. They cannot understand that without taking offense. They don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And I think it might be challenging being friends with me because I'm someone who needs to be by themselves. But I've also experienced that extroverts, they use you.
What do you mean?
They use you because they need the energy of other people. They need to, what's going on? How you feeling? Like they need that energy. You know what I'm saying? And like for me, like I keep most extroverts at a distance because I will not be used as your battery.
And it's, when you're an introvert, just going out, the energy you exert, just having to perform.
Yes.
And put on the happy face.
Perform and be on and be like, what's up and how you doing, babe? I'm ready to leave before I even get there.
Word.
I'm ready to go
Absolutely.
before I even have arrived.
In the book, you also talk about a black girl math. What is black girl math exactly? And can we learn it?
Black girl math is the quick calculation that black women have to do when they are met with racism, when they are met with condescension. And sometimes the reaction can just be an eye roll, like, and sometimes the reaction is a full-blown cuss out. But it's the quick, how do I address this situation? And some black women, they choose not to address it, just go on about their day. Depending on the setting of where you are, should I say anything? How do I say something? Because when you are a black woman, having any kind of emotion outside of that's okay is considered bad.
Because of the angry black woman stereotype?
Because of the angry black woman stereotype, because of the fact that we are the mules of the world, the fact that we must bear everyone else's ish. So it is, it's the math that we sometimes have to do.
That's why I like the Jagged Little Pill chapter, because you talk about being both terrified of your anger and propelled by it. I say it all the time. If you meet a person, a black woman and you label them an angry black woman, there's probably a legitimate reason why they're angry. And doesn't your therapist say you should feel your feels?
My therapist does. I'm going to see him today. My therapist does say I'm going to feel my feels. So Jagged Little Pill Chapter 7 is about anger. I am not someone who is comfortable with anger because I have not been in situations where I have seen two people with opposing viewpoints respectfully disagree, feelings not get hurt, things not being said that you can't take back. I've also, before I could even articulate it, I've also been someone who was like, if you could do that and or say that, then you don't really have much to lose. So me expressing my anger to you, is it going to really benefit this situation? Confrontation is not something that I feel like I'm good at because I've been the recipient of many emotional misdemeanors and felonies, and people, I don't think people have conflict resolution skills. They just want to disrespect.
That's right.
They want to tear you down. They want to make fun of you. And if I use better discernment and picked people who were sincerely interested in my point of view or getting to a common ground, then I think I might be better with anger.
People like confrontation over conversation nowadays.
They do like that. I had an incident happen maybe about a year ago with a dear friend, and he just, it was his perspective. I'm wrong. This is what I'm going to apologize for. And that's that. So that's fun.
So he argued to win and not to understand.
We
call that right fighting.
He was just interested in ensuring that his pride was still intact at the expense of my feelings.
His pride was still intact at the expense of your feelings.
Yeah.
Okay. Expound on that a little more. We're done.
Yeah, now, I was going to ask you, was it somebody you were dating or was it just a friend? Because when you're in a relationship, I notice pride is a lot more because a lot of people feel like they want to win that that situation or that argument in a relationship. If it's a friend is more likely to be like, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
agree
in a
to
relationship,
disagree. Yeah.
it's more of a, I got to stand my ground. And that's what we, term right fighting was like you fighting just to be right, even though you're not hearing the other person at all.
It wasn't a relationship.
It
wasn't a relationship, but it was a man who I cared for deeply. And he just needed to be right.
Yeah, I don't speak anymore, obviously.
Oh, absolutely not.
Damn it, man. Was it that serious? Could be nothing that serious if y'all weren't in a relationship, but just a topic.
No, it was that serious.
Jesus.
It's okay, though. May God bless him.
That means she don't really mean that.
May God bless him.
When you sat down earlier, you talked about like your standards and you have a set of standards, but also in the book you talk about lowering your expectations. So is that for people or just things? Like,
wait, what do you mean lowering expectations? Which chapter?
Chapter 10.
No. Lowered expectations.
Lowered expectations, yeah.
Lowered expectations. That's actually about my cousins.
Okay.
My cousin Tara, who is married, and I went to her house for Halloween one day. She had a big party. We got drunk. We both went to sleep. The kitchen was a mess, and then we woke up and it was clean because her husband cleaned the kitchen, and I was blown away. I said, "You married a man who helps you in the kitchen. This is it." And I just could not. That was like the first time I ever saw that. And then I realized that what I was asking for in romantic relationships, partnership and help, was not, it was not such a big deal. Like it could be done, but it just wasn't being done.
Yeah.
So that's what that chapter is about, lowered expectations.
That's what we were talking about also this morning, because on Mother's Day.
Was it after Ozempic butt?
Is that, before
Ozempic butt.
Okay.
Before Ozempic butt.
Yesterday was Mother's Day, and on Mother's Day, men, we try our best to make our wives' days easy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why can't we do this every day?
Yeah.
But I think with like you said, it's partnership in a relationship, right? Because most people would be like, I didn't expect him to do that. But in my relationship, and I'm sure Charlamagne's relationship as well, if his wife is drinking and she's with her friends, we take care of the house. It is what it is. It's not like this is my duty or this is what I have to do. It's just this is what we do together. Like we build together,
But you've been married. You said you've been married for 23 years.
today.
And how long have you been married?
Me and my wife been together 26, we've been married. It'll be 10 this year.
10 this year.
Yep.
I also think that you have to like grow into marriage. You know what I'm saying? And you have to like figure out the ebb and flow of the relationship. What it said that in that chapter, Tara and Winston, they've been together for like 20 some odd years. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely help one another. But I don't want to wait 10 or 15 years for my partner to wash the dishes after I've cooked all day. That's what I'm saying. That level of partnership, I don't think should have to come after 20 some odd years of marriage or being in a relationship with someone. If you and I are together and you see I cooked, bust some suds. That's what I'm saying.
True. But you might have a 15-year-old. That's their job. I'm just saying, you're not wrong. But
if
you
you
got a
have
15-year-old.
kids-
Yeah, that's their job now.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Does anybody ever figure things out?
No.
Yeah.
No. Hold on. You look like you're thinking about something. What are you thinking about?
No, I was thinking about we always have these conversations with gender roles, right?
Gender. Okay.
And what people feel that they should be doing in a relationship.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I was like, some people would feel that that's a woman's place and a woman's job. And I think a lot of times, not to say that that is a place and that is a woman's job, but I feel like in sometimes relationships, we lose gender roles because people want to be too independent. And what I mean by that is there's some things I don't want my wife to do.
Such as?
I don't want my wife taking out the trash.
Okay.
It just is what it is. That's my job. Certain things, but that's just our relationship because I want to do that as a man. That's what my dad taught me. Not to say that my wife can't take out the trash, but there's certain things I'm going to do because I don't want my wife doing that. You know what I mean? But in certain things like washing the dishes, I wash the dishes and like Charlamagne said, I got 6 kids. One of them is going to wash the dishes. It is what it is. But I just feel like sometimes in relationships, people get too stuck on gender roles and not stuck on just having a happy relationship, you know? Like what I can do and what I can't do. That's what I was just thinking.
Okay.
Does anybody ever figure it all out?
No. No one figures it all out.
Allegedly.
No.
Well, that's why you put allegedly in parentheses?
Yeah, definitely why I put the allegedly in parentheses. No one figures it all out. No. I'm not even close to figuring it all out. I'm still healing from things that happened. You know, I talk about a friendship that has gone awry. I talk about a relationship that caused me to change my phone number. I'm still healing from a lot of things. So I haven't figured it out at all. I am trying to figure it out, but no.
Why should people get this book? If you had to leave our listeners with one reason to go out there and get a black girl in the middle, essays on allegedly figuring it all out, what would it be?
I worked really hard on this book. I put a lot of energy into this book. There's a lot of vulnerability and honesty in this book. And more importantly, I know how much joy and contentment comes from reading books. Every day is not going to be a sunny day. Every day. That's 4 sneezes. 3? Are you 3?
Crazy. You got me scared in here. I'm like, damn.
Every day's not going to be a sunny day in life, you know. But you know, I have opened up a book and I've dived into different worlds. Cup of coffee, a glass of wine, and it brings you so much contentment. It allows you to escape from whatever reality that you have at the moment. And I hope that my book does that for others. I want Black women to feel reflected and represented, and I want non-Black people to understand that we are just as nuanced. When you are Black in this country, it often feels like you have to be Barack and Michelle or Jay and Beyonce. You have to get shot 9 times. You know, like the Tuesdays of life, the Tuesdays of emotions. That's not something that we're allowed to play in that ground. And I feel like my book does that.
Well, go get it right now, okay?
Before we go, I just have one last question.
Okay.
You just mentioned that you had to change your number for a friend or
I
change your
did.
number for a relationship.
Yeah, I did.
Why did you have to change your number?
So in 2019, I dated a man, and everything was going great. And then we broke up, and he did not take that breakup well, and he kept calling, and he kept calling. And the only way I could regain a sense of security and or peace was to change my phone number.
Wow.
breakups are what they are. They're very hard. You know what I'm saying? You guys have been married since the year of the flood, so you may not remember. But when we broke up, I was going through the emotions of having broken up with this man that I really cared for, but I was not expecting the fallout to lead to constant text messages, constant phone numbers. And I don't know if any of you have had to change your phone number, but you become very emotionally attached to your number. You know what I'm saying? Like my old number still has some points on it from CVS. Jesus. You know, that sounds kind of crazy of all things, but it still does. And the only way I could get some distance was because of changing my phone number and the emotional things that came from that.
Okay. Well, the new book, A Black Girl in the Middle, is on Allegedly Figuring It All Out. It's out right now. Shenequa Golden, we appreciate you for joining us.
Tell them how
to
follow you and all that stuff, too, because Shenequa is, her book is fantastic, but she's just a phenomenal writer, period. So if you follow her on Instagram like I do, you're going to get a lot of gems.
Oh, thank you so much. And I want to say thank you so much for having your book come out next week. Give me just like if it came out, or I appreciate that. So I'm on Golding Girl 617, Golding Girl 617. I'm on Twitter, X, Threads, and Instagram. Thank you so much.
All right, it's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up
early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.